Why DC Universe canceling Swamp Thing was a bad idea. CINEMABLEND. Starting a streaming service is not the easiest task, and it takes a lot of hard work to reach the level of Netflix and Hulu. While there may be some room for debate, it's not hard to argue that the strongest thing DC Universe has going for it is its original programming. Some doubted of course, now we know that DC Universe has to Swamp Thing after just one episode. While it seems like an awful idea to cancel Swamp Thing after one episode, there probably was a valid reason behind it. It seems Swamp Thing constructed an expensive swamp set in North Carolina that was apparently costly enough that it wouldn't be very feasible to build it elsewhere. You can't have swamp. With all of that said, there are also other things to consider. Obviously, while there are people keeping a watchful eye on the Swamp Thing situation and doing additional research, there's absolutely a good deal of people who only read the headlines that it was cancelled after one episode and moved on with their day making their own assumptions. The first is that Swamp Thing must have been a real stinker, and DC Universe dumped it almost immediately because of that. Now, whatever the case, the end result is not a good look for Swamp Thing, nor is it the best look for DC Universe. After all, while it wouldn't have been the best thing in the world for DC Universe to keep folks wondering if Swamp Thing Season 2 was happening, the early cancellation may have shot this series in the foot. Few people want. Swamp Thing will likely die a slow death with episodes still rolling out on a weekly basis, as opposed to establishing a strong fanbase via word of mouth and getting continued viewership. This show could be, which may actually be what DC Universe wanted, actually, as a small to insignificant fanbase isn't as loud as one that's grown incredibly attached to the cast and characters of a doomed show. Passionate fan. Even if the financial situation wasn't great, it seems Swamp Thing wasn't important enough for DC Universe to try and see if it was worth keeping around for another season. Even if a new season, when paired with the fact that there is no connection to Swamp Thing and the two other live-action DC Universe shows, it feels like there wasn't a lot of stock put into the series to begin with. Swamp Thing is, to be fair, this is mainly speculation, and there have been for why Swamp Thing would be disconnected from other DC Universe shows. Still, Swamp Thing was the first cancellation at DC Universe, and there's been speculation something bigger is on the horizon. Namely, right now, though, things are looking good for these other shows with Bruce Wayne headed to the confirmed Titans Season 2, and Doom Patrol seeming on a path towards renewal. Is that a sure thing? Swamp Thing is still rolling it, so subscribers can check out Season 1 and the upcoming series finale in the coming weeks. Stick with CINEMABLEND.
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park.